Peace. Peace to everyone once again. Again, Chief Yuya hitting you on in between work. And yeah, I'm keeping these going a little bit. I got a nice little momentum going on here so far. I mean, I only did 2, but 2 in 2 days, it's not bad, you know. But remember I told you something, I'm gonna try to do this video quick too, man, because there was two people here just kind of having a dispute a minute ago. I got to witness a alpha male crackhead. They were over here, crackheads always arguing about something. And she was like, I never lied to you. I don't lie to you. And he was like, can I talk to you? Could you calm down? She was like, no, F you. Da, 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 da. He just walked away from her. And she was facing the other direction. So she kept talking, thinking that he was right there. And he was halfway up the hill. And then she turned around and said, Billy, oh, okay. All right. Yeah, I'm cool. And then went walking behind him. So, red pill crackhead. Morpheus. he's the Morpheus of crackheads. But anyway, let me stop. So I want to hurry up in case they come back for more of their lovers quarreling. So we have these massive floodings in the Midwest. You guys paying attention? You should be paying attention. Remember what I told you? It was a very brief video in January, probably around January 1st or 2nd. And I shared with you, I did an Ifa financial reading. And I said that this will be the financial year to gather commodities and resources to you, hard assets and commodities. Remember I said that? And then I did a follow-up video. Might be called prepping, but it was the first video where I really talked about prepping. And I did that video. So now look what's happened, right? Because Ifa never lies. Ifa never lies, right? I'm so thankful to be in the club. So now we got this massive flooding that's happened. And it's basically, I'm going to make a long story very short. So basically 1/3 of our grain supplies have been destroyed by the flooding. And to bring some greater relevancy, I know the wind is blowing, so willfully I'll stop and let the wind go, then I'll come back. Every time I start, here comes Oya. Me too. #me too. Oh yeah, I want to talk too. But of course, those are the winds of change. And I'm speaking truth because you have that Ruach. Those of you who've been studying under me should now be familiar with what the Ruach is. If you've been studying the Kabbalah under me. But that spirit, that truth is coming. Here comes the Ruach. So, Ifa shared that with us earlier this year. Now 1/3 of the nation's grains have been destroyed. Even more. It wasn't even blowing like this before I hit the record button. I promise you, it was not blowing like this at all. It was still. The only noise you had was from, I was going to say something. I'm not going to say it. I'm just going to say Tommy and Pamela. We'll say that. You gotta love the unseen world. It's so beautiful, man. The signs and wonders. Gotta love it. And I'm speaking about the wind. Afefe. Gotta love it. So, of course, this is not going to be on the mass media. They're not going to really be speaking about this, but food shortages are real now. It's real. Because you might be saying, well, I don't eat corn. So I don't care about the corn supplies going down. And how does that really affect the food prices? Well, think about the grain that's fed to the cows and to the chickens, and the lack of that now. Not to mention that last year, Hurricane Florence, which they say caused over 3.7 or $3.4 billion worth of damage to the agricultural community. Even now, they're saying there's almost 4 billion, and they're still tallying. 4 billion barrels of grain are destroyed because of the flooding. And you think about how that affects. Look at that wind, boy. Bet you if I stop talking, the wind will stop. But you think about how that affects the growing season and the planting season. So those who would have, like, let's say another 45 days to do their planting now can't, because many farms are still underwater. You have certain images they're even showing now. There was one image I saw of a person feeding their cow, and the cow was not under, but the cow was standing in 1 foot of water while being fed. And again, like I said, last year from Hurricane Florence, what happened through the North Carolina area, especially like Lumberton, North Carolina, all of these poultry farms were destroyed. See that wind? Wow. Not a speck of wind. You guys better pay attention to this. Pay attention to the wind and everything else. It's blowing. So what this essentially means is what I said earlier this year. This concept of now investing in hard assets. You need to grow your own food. Plain and simple. You got to grow your own food. Stop playing around with it. And if you live in a place where you can't grow your own food, then you need to move. If you live in a place that's flood prone, you need to move. You need to get to the highlands. This is so reminiscent of. I'm going to speak louder because of the wind. It's so beautiful. I'm enjoying it actually. This is so reminiscent of what happened in biblical law in terms of the floods and the plagues that were visited upon what they called in that book ancient Egypt, and how the crops were destroyed and the livestock was destroyed. That's what we're experiencing right now. You can Google this stuff. Look up the massive amount of poultry, chickens that were lost last year during Hurricane Florence. Then this year you have a massive amount of cows and chickens that were washed away or are dying because of exposure because of the flooding. And according to the oceanic calendar, the flooding is going to continue through May. So consider how that's going to affect the food prices when 1/3 of the nation's food supply is now destroyed. And for you to understand the idea of destruction here in food, when you're storing grains, if they're exposed to water at all, which is a term they use, they call it adulterated. So if the grains are adulterated, what happens is they're unusable. They have to be destroyed. So they can't just say, okay, well, the top, some of it is wet, but the rest of it is dry. No, they got to destroy the whole thing. Woo, look at this. I'm going to just keep filming. I'll get closer to the mic because I'm sure some of you probably can't hear what I'm saying, but I'm not going to stop. I want you to get all this wind. Let's see. Look at that. So the grains are adulterated, right? And essentially now what's happening is that means that they have to be destroyed, or they're already destroyed, really. They have to be disposed of. But you know, one of the important things, I'm going to get close. One of the important things to understand about agriculture is that, or the agricultural industry. Recently, there was a report that was done. It was about a year ago, and it was determined that the majority of the bankruptcy filings that were done between like 2016, 2018 were done by farmers, and they were filing Chapter 11 basically in order to keep their farms. And now with the flooding, they're just not going to recover. So there's going to be some zones in the United States at this point that were historically known for food that are not coming back. Kansas may be one of them. That is just not coming back. So now, how does this also affect us? Well, they'll say, well, you know what? That's why we have GMO foods. You can eat the GMO food. See, that's the curse of a wicked people. When they put their hand to the soil and the soil yields nothing. So when you put your hand to the soil and the soil yields nothing, what do you have to do? Well, you create GMO foods, genetically modified foods, because you can't get your food out of the soil. You can't get your food from natural means. There's a lot of science to that. There's a lot of metaphysical science to that idea of being that wicked that the earth doesn't even respond to you. But again, we look at the floods, and like I said, the investment in hard assets becomes more crucial in this time because the food prices are going to be so high. Soon you're going to have to make decisions between eating and paying your mortgage. Not that mortgages will be relevant much longer. That's a whole nother idea and reality. I'm trying not to make this an alarmist video. I would suggest that you go onto NOAA's website. Just look at the flood zones and what they're telling us is going to be happening with floods going forward. And you can make some really intelligent decisions behind just that, having that factual data in terms of not only food prices, but what America is going to look like. And understand that one of the reasons that there was so much destruction in terms of the granaries is because people right now, or farmers, had massive stores of grains because of the trading disputes that America is currently going through with China. So they had more grain stored than usual, so more grains were affected by the flooding. What you can also do, there was a huge flood, or they call the Great Flood of 1993. I remember that's when Menace to Society came out. Yeah. So don't you come out here for 10:30 no more. Yeah. It's such a good movie. But check out the flood of 1993. I'm sure they probably have videos or documentaries on YouTube. I don't know. I'm assuming by now because it was such a big deal. And you can get a sense of what happens after a flood like that. But this one is worse. Wow. This wind is so great. Great. Wunderbar, as the Germans would say. Yeah, is it Wunderbar or Wunderbar? It's one of them. It's great. So yeah, I just wanted to share that. I didn't want to make it a long experience because I do have some things I have to do. And, clearly the winds of change are upon us all. And we have some serious decisions that are in front of us. And one of them is to really re-examine our historical relationship that we have with this landmass known as North America, and understanding also that economically, the U.S. is, when you have a top and you spin a top, there's a center to that top, the balance point, the focal point. That's what the United States is for the entire world when it comes to economy. We are the spinning top, the point to the spinning top. So if you're deeply invested in this system here, this is going to have a deep impact on you. You're going to see some things within the next 1 to 3 years, but even in food prices in the next 6 months, that again may lead you to re-examine your relationship that you have with this place and how you may want to adjust it going forward, as well as your own mechanisms of self-sustainability. All right, I want to enjoy this win. I'm done talking. All right, so I just wanted to hit that point and remind you all of the reading, the fiscal reading I did for the new year, where I spoke about what you need to do. Now, I saw this coming, and there's more coming. There's so much more coming. I didn't speak about that online, and I won't, so don't even ask. But I just gave you a freebie, and I said, hard assets now. Now is the time to invest in hard assets. I didn't say paper assets. I didn't say stocks. I didn't say even brick and mortar buildings. I didn't say taking out more mortgages. I said hard assets. This is just the beginning. This is just the beginning. Families need to join together now. Stop playing, stop tiptoeing. If you know you're too dysfunctional to be in a family, fix yourself. Fix what's broken. Because it's the shelter of family that's going to get you through it this time. All right. Now the wind's going to calm down. Right when I go to stop. All right. Peace, everyone. Be well. Chief Yu Ya out.